Hello, this is Dr. Victoria Scarborough speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And this is a series on the people who are running for president in 2020. I'm doing their Numerology and Kabbalah. The first in the series I did on Elizabeth Warren, so you can check that. I'll put a link below. And now I'm going to do Kirsten Gillibrand, and I'm trying to do these people in the order that they announced, but I know that this order is a little out of, there are some people perhaps in between, but I'm going to do my best to give us a perspective on each individual person running. And I do have to say I'm excited that there are so many women running or throwing their hat in the ring, their chapeau in the ring. And so we're going to do Kirsten now. Kirsten, sorry. I'll probably make that mistake more than once. I didn't know that much about her. She is not my senator. Elizabeth Warren is my senator. I live in Massachusetts. So I didn't know that much about Kirsten. I did do a little research. I am going to try to keep my personal opinions out of things, but give you a perspective on what I see in their, at least their public persona, what I know of them in their public persona, and what I see in the numbers, and that how that kind of lines up. So maybe a little bit of judgment or opinion in here, but it's not. It's only meant to make things a little clearer for you. Okay, so again, we have a woman, and so her name, Gillibrand, is not the name that she that we use for her numerology and her Kabbalah. We use her maiden name, and her maiden name is Rutnick, and she was born on the 9th of December 1966 in Albany, New York. So she's from upstate New York. Upstate New York is a relatively, she is a Democrat, but upstate New York is a relatively conservative area. So we keep that in mind as we move forward. So her full name is Kirsten Elizabeth Rutnick, and it's interesting that she has Elizabeth in her name. It's her second name, but she still has Elizabeth. And I said in Elizabeth Warren's that people who have Elizabeth as a name tend to be very analytical, and so she also has that. She has that analytical ability. The name Kirsten actually vibrates to a 33 vibration, and the 33 vibration is associated with the sign of Leo. And so Kirsten has that energy of self-expression and wanting her voice to be heard just from her first name alone. I was watching a thing on her, a comment by her family, and her mother said when she was little they wanted to have her hearing tested because she was so loud and always wanted to be heard. So she continues to be loud and wanting to be heard. So we'll look at her soul vibration, her outer personality, her expression, her life lesson, and her shadow. Again, remember, the soul is the inner feminine vibration, and so her soul vibration is a 41/6 vibration, and the 41/6 is connected to the sign of Scorpio, and she has a lot of Scorpio in her chart. Actually, I am going to try to do something separate with the astrology as well as the numerology and the Kabbalah. It just takes time, and we don't have an accurate birth time, so we have to do a little bit of supposition with Kirsten. But she does have quite a bit of Scorpio in her chart. And she has her Mercury, her ability to communicate, in Scorpio. And so we need to take that into consideration. And when we see how she... So when you have Scorpio, Mercury and Scorpio, your words can be very penetrating, but they can also be very... they can hurt people if she's not careful. So she does have to watch what she says. Okay, so we have that 41/6 vibration. The 41/6 vibration is this card right here, the Six of Cups. And the Six of Cups is about nostalgia. It's about children. It's about childhood. I think she has some very precious sort of childhood memories. She's one of the few senators that has young children in the Senate. So she's connected to children, and she announced on the Colbert Show, and the first thing she brought up was health care and public schools, that children deserve health care, they deserve schools that work. And so her primary, her first thing out of her mouth was about children. And that is indicative of this card right here. This card. And the fact that this sits in Tiphereth on the Tree of Life. That is the center of the Tree of Life. It is associated with the heart chakra. And it's the place of children on the Tree of Life. It's the place of community and working with others and working in groups. Okay. She also has her outer personality in Tiphereth as the 6 of 60/6, and that's this card here. So this is about moving from tumultuous waters to calmer waters. Okay. So we have this sense of helping those who cannot help themselves, right? We have this sense of helping those who need protection. Okay, so there is this sense of protection. Interestingly enough, she was the first person to call out Al Franken when somebody said that he was sexually harassing them. She wanted him to leave, and I guess they were friends, but she felt the need that she had to speak up for that. And I sort of watched her do that on one of the videos. I got the distinct impression, and sexual abuse and sexual harassment have been something that she has sort of backed her whole career. And when I watched her face when she was saying it, she made it look like she remembered something. So I think she has a wound in that place. I think that this is an issue for her because she's been wounded there. Just an aside. So the 6 vibration, first of all, the 1 vibration as a soul vibration is the vibration of the individual, the loner to a certain extent. So at the core of who she really is quite self-sufficient. Her outer personality, however, is a 6, and a 6 is somebody who is very concerned with someone who's very concerned with the community and children and your responsibility. What's your responsibility? So inwardly, she's, and I want to say selfish, but I don't mean necessarily in a negative way. But she has the sort of selfful place with that 1. And then the 6 as an outer personality is really her outward persona, the one that you meet, the one that she shows to her colleagues, or shows to Stephen Colbert on the Tonight Show or the Late Show, whatever it's called. That's going to be the 6. Community concerns and all this other stuff. And she kept talking about in that one how she thinks that we need to get together and we need to talk about it and get people together to agree and such and such and such. So she does have that she says that, and she truly believes it, I think. And your outer personality, that 6 vibration, is very much your talents and abilities from past lives. So she has an ability to get people together and discuss and do that kind of thing. Her grandmother was actually, her family was in politics up in Albany, and her grandmother was a backroom power broker. So she has that in her DNA as well. Sort of working in the background to sort of bring people together to change things or develop things or, things like that. So she does have that, and she has it in her numbers as well. So how does she balance that inner self and the outer self? First of all, the inner self is a water sign. It's about water, and so it's emotions. Having 1 as emotions, you tend to keep your emotions to yourself. I mean, they spill out for her. She has other numbers that kind of spill out that emotion. But really, she's I think that she's has a few things sort of locked away in her own feelings, locked away. And this outer personality is air. It's Aquarius. And so this can be a way of for her to find to be able to objectify, like step back and be objective about the things that she wants to talk about. So we have the inner emotional and the outer sort of intellectual there. So how does she balance that? How does she find balance between her inner and outer self? Well, she does that through her expression vibration. And her expression vibration is actually the same vibration as Elizabeth Warren had. It's a 16/7. And this is the card for that, the Tower card. This is located in the solar plexus, just as it's located in Elizabeth Warren's solar plexus. And so so she finds balance between that sort of emotional loner vibration, and then that outer let's have consensus, let's work together, through this vibration. And this vibration is a vibration where you need to be true to who you are. You need to be true to who you are. And so you can, as I said with Elizabeth, if you're true to who you are, it works for you. If you're not, you will have a tower experience. But you can also be a tower energy to other people located in the solar plexus. This is somebody who must, in order to find balance between their inner and outer self, work through their own sense of will. What do they want? So there's a willfulness here, and there's a fighting spirit, just like Elizabeth had, right? Just as Liz had. So we have that fighting spirit in both of these candidates, and they kind of come across that way. They come across as fighters. They're coming from different places, and there is a big age difference here. So Elizabeth has more experience under her belt, so to speak, than Kirsten has, just because of age. All right, so we have that. So the life lesson, okay, Kirsten's life lesson is a 7 vibration. It's a 43/7. We get that by adding her birthday, December 9th, 1966. 1966 is a 22 vibration. We see she also has a 22 as a number. Everybody born in 1966 is a 22 vibration. And so that whole year of people have their personal year. 1966 is a 22 vibration. So they all have that master spiritual builder energy. And you will find people born in 1966, if you look, you'll see that a lot of them do have that energy. But it is a challenging energy. 1966 was the year of the fire horse. And the fire horse in Chinese medicine, and they are fighters, and they can wreak a lot of havoc, we'll say, if they are not balanced and focused. All right, so the 43/7 is this vibration. It's the 3 of Cups. It's actually located on the Tree of Life in Bina, up here in Bina. And Bina is the place of the divine feminine. And when you have a number in Bina, you are really dealing with the issues of the disempowered female. And she is a voice for the Me Too movement. As I said, she was one of the first people, or the first person, to ask Al Franken to step down. And, some people felt that it was political opportunism. But she felt, according to her, is that she felt like she needed to say something, but it was his decision whether he was going to leave or not. She was pretty forceful with that. So that's part of her, but your path of life is part of your learning curve. And ultimately, this card is really about understanding self, because we're dealing with a 7 vibration. And in the case of her, is understanding her emotional self. Okay, so she's here to understand her emotional self. astrologically, she's a Sagittarius, like I said, but she does have a lot of Scorpio. So her Scorpio will can come up as unconscious stuff, you know, and her Sagittarius hopefully to find some perspective on that experience, because that's what Sagittarius does. All right, and let's talk about her shadow. Her shadow vibration is this. It's a 42/6 vibration. And this is an interesting vibration because it's a 6. And 6s are, can be negatively, they can be very opinionated. They can be very fixed in their opinions. And this is located in Chokmah, up here, okay? Her shadow is in the place of the divine masculine. And so if she heals her shadow, this becomes what she's known for. If she doesn't, it blocks her. And so for her, this particular place on the Tree of Life is connected to her third eye. And so it would be an inability to see, okay, an inability to intuit. She definitely comes from her heart. She has her soul and her quiescent both located in her heart. She talks like somebody who is concerned with all the things that are associated with the heart, children and working together and responsibility and community and who's responsible. But there can be somewhat of a blockage to see a bigger picture, to see bigger connections here. Okay, so this is more of a psychic sense, having her shadow up here. And this card especially can be idealism around love and just idealism in general. And so she could possibly be a little bit too idealistic in things. And that is what she's here to learn. She has to, on a certain level, realize that not everybody is going to live up to her expectations. That's what this card is about. Okay, so let's look at her her divine triangle here. She is younger than Liz, so she's actually still working in her power square. Now she is 40. She's 52. 52 now. How old is she? She's going to be 53 on her birthday, but that's not till December. So she's 52. Okay, so she's about here on this path. She's on a 5 line of her power square. Now, in her youth square, she has a 50/5 vibration, okay? And then in her power square, she has a 43/8 vibration. And this is the 50/5 right here, this card, the 10 of Cups, okay? And then this is the 53/8, okay? And that is the Knight of Swords. Now, the squares here, the youth square, the power square, the wisdom square. Squares are always challenges. So this is what she's challenged. This is the environment she finds herself in and is challenged. And this is the card associated with her power square. Now, this is somebody who feels as though they have the right on their side, and they will rush into situations and take positions in situations and jump into the fray without thinking it out. And so the lesson here is that before you say something or before you commit to something, you really have to think about it. And you have to understand that sometimes what you say and what you do and what you fight for inadvertently can hurt people around you. Okay? So that's something that she is going to learn. This can be a very powerful energy because it is really, it's like your heart's in the right place. But you really have to think about the consequences of your actions. This is the card of unintended consequences. And so that is her, that's her challenge in her power square. Now, what's interesting is that when she starts moving in her wisdom square, she actually has the same vibration. And so when I see this, I feel as though in this part of her life, from age 27 to age 54, she's likely to make more mistakes through a need to have an opinion or jump in or jump into the fray without thinking. It isn't until she gets into her wisdom square that she sees, I don't want to say the errors of her ways, but the lessons that she learned through this process. And so I find that very, very interesting in her chart. She is on a 5 line right now. 5 line is associated with the sign of Taurus, and she has her North Node in Taurus. And so she really is working on trying to find stability and working with and for the essential needs, her essential needs, and then, of course, expanding out to the essential needs of the people that she represents. And so she is somewhat of a firebrand, different than Elizabeth Warren, but certainly a powerful force. I saw one thing, and I'll mention it. I saw one thing that was a little bit, I'm going to say disturbing, and this is just for me. She said in one of her things that she wanted to be a preacher. That, like, when she was little, that was one of the things she wanted to do. And she had an opportunity to go into, I think it was a black church in New York, and preach. And she just, she just went off with, and that's very Sagittarius. So, she's being true to her sun. She also has Venus in Sagittarius. So she actually loves that righteousness that comes with Sagittarius. So she does have a very righteous streak if you watch her. And that can be a challenge when you have this energy, because righteousness isn't always right. But you think you're right. And so we have to be aware that her opinions may not be that easy to change, although she has changed her positions on many things since she came in. She was actually very conservative, and now as she has been in the position of House, first she was in the House and then she was in the Senate, becoming much more liberal on certain things. And she says it's because she spoke to those people. She actually went in and spoke to them. You're going to use your own judgment on these things. Let me see if there's anything else in her chart that I although we're not doing a chart, I just happen to have her chart up here. Yeah, so we do definitely have somebody who will be heard. She will be heard. She's a Sagittarius, and her ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter, is in Leo. And there's that self-expression. There's that speaking loudly that her mother spoke of. So she is no shrinking violet, this woman, and she's going to fight for what she thinks is right. And so we'll see how she does in the election. So that's Kirsten Gillibrand. And the next person I want to do is Kamala Harris. I don't know if I'll get to that today. But she also has a very interesting chart. Everybody who's doing this is very, very interesting. All right. Like and subscribe if you would like to have one of these done for yourself. You can contact me below or contact me at my website, theseedsoftransformation.com. Most people who have this done for themselves find it very enlightening. It's been a pleasure. I will see you again soon. Bye.